If you want a better job, start speaking English like this for interviews, jobs, and meetings. Segment 1. Your voice, your future. You remember that day. You walked into the interview room with hope in your chest and fear in your throat. You had prepared your answers in your mind. But the moment you sat down, everything disappeared. Your heartbeat felt louder than your voice. Your English words felt locked behind a wall you couldn't break. You tried to speak, but your mind froze. You understood the questions, but your mouth refused to respond. You felt shame burning inside your chest. You felt the interviewer waiting, staring, expecting. You felt seconds stretching like hours. Your mind screamed for the words. Your tongue searched for a sound. Your confidence collapsed in real time. You said the first broken sentence that came to your lips. You saw the interviewer's expression shift. You knew exactly what that expression meant. You knew you were losing the job, not because you were unqualified, but because you couldn't express yourself. You walked out of that room feeling smaller than when you entered. You promised yourself you would never feel that helpless again. And that moment, that painful, embarrassing moment, is the moment your transformation truly began. Because that day wasn't failure, it was awakening. It was the moment you realized that English, your English, wasn't just a school subject anymore. It was your future, your opportunity, your career, your passport to a better life. And from that day forward, you understood something powerful. If you don't control your English will control you. If you don't train your voice, your silence will speak for you. If you don't learn how to communicate confidently, opportunities will pass you by. Now you are here, ready, committed, hungry to change the story. Not just for the next interview, but for every conversation that shapes your life. Jobs, meetings, presentations, introductions, career decisions, every important moment in your future will require one thing: your voice. And this segment is the beginning of rebuilding that voice. English for interviews is not about perfect grammar. It is not about sounding like a native speaker. It is not about memorizing long answers. It is about confidence. It is about clarity. It is about structure. It is about controlling your mind under pressure. It is about knowing how to speak even when your heart is shaking. Interviews test more than your English. They test your psychology, your breathing, your posture, your tone, your mindset, your ability to express ideas under stress, your ability to remain calm when your brain wants to panic. This is where most learners fail, not because they don't know English, but because they cannot use English under pressure. Your goal is not to speak perfect English. Your goal is to speak stable English, steady English, clear English, human English, English that shows confidence, even if it's simple, English that shows clarity, even if it's basic, English that shows professionalism, even if you are still learning. You see, your interviewer doesn't want poetry. They want communication. They want understanding. They want connection. They want to hear your mind, not your fear. And the truth is, your mind already knows English. Your thoughts know it. Your memory knows it. Your experience knows it. The only thing missing is control. The ability to activate your English when you need it most. That control begins with your mindset. If you enter an interview thinking, my English is bad, your brain shuts down. If you enter a meeting thinking, they will judge me, your voice becomes weak. If you enter a business call thinking, I might make mistakes, your confidence collapses. Your brain cannot perform when your mind attacks itself. Your voice cannot rise when fear holds its throat. Your English cannot flow when anxiety blocks the path. This is why the interview room felt like a battlefield. You were fighting two enemies at the same time: the interviewer in front of you and the fear inside your mind. From today forward, you will fight only one, and it will not be fear. When you train your English for interviews, you must train three systems at the same time. 1. Your language system. 2. Your mindset system. 3. Your communication system. Your language system handles the words. Your mindset system handles the fear. Your communication system handles the delivery. If even one of these collapses, your confidence collapses with it. You do not improve interview English by memorizing answers. You improve it by training your brain to speak clearly even when pressure rises. You improve it by practicing how to slow your breathing, slow your mind, and control your tone. You improve it by learning how to structure answers easily. You improve it by knowing what interviewers truly want. Most interviewers don't care about big words. They care about clarity. Clarity shows professionalism. Clarity shows intelligence. Clarity shows confidence. And clarity doesn't come from complicated English, it comes from simple, well structured English. When you sit down in front of an interview panel again, you will not repeat the past. You will enter with a trained mind, a trained voice, a trained structure, a trained confidence. You will speak slowly. You will speak clearly. You will speak with presence. You will speak with purpose. You will speak like someone who understands their value. You will not freeze. You will not panic. You will not let your English betray your abilities, because your English will no longer be the wall blocking your success. It will be the bridge to your success. Every job you want, every opportunity you dream of, every meeting that can change your future, all of them depend on one thing: your ability to communicate confidently. This is not about perfect English, it is about powerful English, stable English, confident English, English that opens doors. And from today, you will begin training that English. Not for school, not for tests, not for textbooks, but for your future, your career, your life. You have already lived the pain of failure. Now you will live the transformation. This time, you will walk into the interview room ready, prepared, strong, calm, and clear. That old version of you, the one who froze in fear, will stay in the past. The new version of you, the one who speaks with confidence, begins now. Segment 2. Control your mind, control your English. Before you learn how to answer questions, before you learn structure, before you learn vocabulary, you must learn something far more important: how to control your mind in professional English situations. Because interviews, meetings, presentations, none of them are English tests. They are mental tests. They test how your brain behaves under pressure. They test whether your voice follows your mind or whether your fear follows your voice. The truth is this: most people who fail interviews do not fail because their English is bad. They fail because their mind collapses before their English can even begin working. You know this already. You experienced it in segment 1: the freezing, the silence, the panic, the heavy heartbeat, the blurry thoughts, the sudden emptiness. None of that was about grammar. None of that was about vocabulary. It was about the fight happening inside your own head. So in this segment, you will learn the first real skill that separates successful speakers from silent ones. mental control. If you cannot control your mind, you cannot control your English. And if you cannot control your English, you cannot control your opportunities. Imagine this. Two candidates enter the same interview. Both have intermediate English. One answers calmly, slowly, clearly, even if they make small mistakes. The other answers perfectly in practice, but breaks down in the real moment. Who gets the job? Always the calm one, always the one whose mind stays steady, always the one who speaks with presence and not panic. This is why your English must become mental English, not just classroom English. You must train your brain to stay stable, to stay clear, to stay awake even when your nerves rise. Interviews activate fear. Meetings activate pressure. Presentations activate self-doubt. But your brain can learn to work through pressure. It can learn to think clearly when your body feels scared. It can learn to stay confident even when your voice wants to shake. And that begins with understanding the three mental enemies you must defeat. 1. Overthinking. 2. Self-judgment. 3. Speed panic. Let's begin with the first enemy. 1. Overthinking. Overthinking is the mind's biggest trap. It tells you to think before you speak, but thinking too much destroys fluency, especially under pressure. Overthinking creates hesitation. It creates long pauses. It creates mental noise. It steals your confidence. And in interviews, hesitation looks like insecurity. When your interviewer asks, "Tell me about yourself," you don't freeze because you don't understand. You freeze because your mind begins calculating. Should I say this? Should I add that? What if this sounds wrong? What if my grammar is bad? What if they judge me? By the time you finish debating inside your mind, your voice has already lost control. Overthinking kills natural speech. Professional English requires a different rule. Speak first, adjust second. You speak, then you refine. You speak, then you correct. You speak, then you clarify. This is how confident speakers work. They allow words to come out naturally. They don't fight every sentence before it leaves. They guide their thoughts gently, not aggressively. They let their English breathe. Your mind must learn to release control, not tighten it. 2. Self-judgment. The second enemy is even more dangerous. Self-judgment. This is the voice inside your head that whispers negativity the moment you open your mouth. You sound stupid. You said that wrong. You're embarrassing yourself. You're speaking too slowly. You made a grammar mistake. You're losing the job. This inner critic destroys your confidence. It turns every sentence into a fight. It turns every word into a risk. It makes you forget everything you know. It transforms minor mistakes into massive disasters inside your mind. But here is the truth. Interviewers do not care about your mistakes. They care about your message. They care about your stability. They care about your professionalism. They care about your personality. One grammar mistake is nothing. 10 grammar mistakes are nothing if your message is strong. What destroys candidates is not mistakes. It is panic. Panic shows weakness. Self-judgment creates panic. To speak confidently, you must replace the inner critic with a supportive inner guide. Instead of "I'm doing bad," you say "keep going." Instead of "I'm slow," you say "I'm clear." Instead of "I sound wrong," you say "I'm communicating." Your mind must become your partner, not your enemy. 3. Speed. Panic. The third enemy is speed panic. You speak too fast because you are afraid of being judged. You speak too fast because you fear silence. You speak too fast because you want to finish quickly, but speed kills clarity. Speed kills confidence. Speed kills control. Confident speakers speak slowly. They speak calmly. They speak with space. They speak with intention. They speak like they have nothing to prove. When you speak slowly, three things happen. Your mind calms down. Your voice becomes stronger. Your English becomes clearer. In interviews and meetings, slow equals confident. Fast equals nervous. Your new rule: slow is safe. Slow is strong. Slow is professional. Take your time. Breathe. Let words land. Speak with presence, not pressure. Now that you understand the enemies, let's talk about how to defeat them using mental training techniques. Technique 1: the first sentence rule. Every conversation, every interview answer, every meeting response has one thing in common. The hardest part is the first sentence. After you start, your mind relaxes, but fear blocks the beginning. To fix this, you practice one simple technique. Before answering, breathe for 1 second. Then say your first sentence with certainty. For example, sure, I'd be happy to explain. Absolutely, let me share my experience. Yes, I can talk about that. This builds momentum. Confidence creates more confidence. Technique 2: the 3-point structure. Structure saves your mind. When you don't know what to say, structure gives you direction. Here is the simplest and most powerful answer structure for interviews and meetings. Point 1: start with a clear statement. Point 2: give one example. Point 3: end with a confident conclusion. When your brain knows the structure, fear cannot confuse you. You always know where you are going. Technique 3: the interview breath. Before answering, inhale through your nose for 2 seconds, exhale through your mouth for 2 seconds. This resets your mind. This slows your heart. This releases tension. This gives your brain oxygen. This gives your voice power. This breath is your secret weapon. Use it before difficult questions. Technique 4: identity shift. You cannot speak confidently if you still see yourself as a nervous learner. You must shift identity. Before entering an interview, tell yourself, I am a professional. I bring value. I deserve this opportunity. I am prepared. I am capable. Your voice follows your identity. If you see yourself as confident, you speak confidently. If you see yourself as weak, you speak weakly. Change how you see yourself, and your English will follow. Technique 5: controlled pauses. Confident speakers pause. They are not afraid of silence. They use silence as power. A 1 second pause can change everything. Pause before answering. Pause to think. Pause to breathe. Pause to make your message stronger. Silence is not a mistake. It is leadership. By now, you understand the truth. Professional English is 50% language, 50% psychology. If your mind stays stable, your English becomes strong. If your mind collapses, your English collapses with it. Interviews aren't won by the smartest candidate. Meetings aren't led by the most fluent speaker. Jobs aren't given to the person with perfect grammar. They're given to the person who speaks with calm confidence. And that confidence begins in your mind, not your mouth. Segment 3: speak with structure. The power of professional English patterns. There is a reason confident people sound confident, even when their English is simple. It's not because they know more words. It's not because they speak faster. It's not because they grew up abroad. It's because they use structure. Structure gives the brain clarity. Structure gives your voice direction. Structure transforms nervous, messy thoughts into professional communication. And in interviews, jobs, and meetings, structure is the difference between sounding confused and sounding capable. You have already felt what happens when structure is missing. When you speak without a plan, your mind panics. You jump from idea to idea. You lose your point. You start talking in circles. You forget what you wanted to say. The interviewer becomes confused. And confusion is dangerous because confusion looks like lack of knowledge. But with structure, everything changes. Your brain relaxes. Your ideas flow. Your voice becomes steady. Your sentences become clear. Your message becomes strong. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, structure makes you sound confident and prepared. That is why you must train professional English the way professionals use it, with patterns. Every answer, every explanation, every opinion, every story in professional life follows predictable patterns. And once you learn them, speaking becomes easier, faster, and more natural. You no longer need to translate. You no longer need to panic. You simply follow the structure and speak. In this segment, you will learn the most powerful communication patterns used in interviews, meetings, presentations, and workplace conversations. These patterns are simple, they are clean, they are easy to use, and once they become part of your mind, you will be able to speak clearly in any situation. Let's begin with the most important one. Sandro 1. The STAR pattern: situation, task, action, result. This is the global standard for answering behavioral interview questions. Companies in the USA, UK, Canada, Europe, everyone uses this pattern. When interviewers say, "Tell me about a time when," they expect STAR. If you don't use it, your answer becomes long and confusing. Here's the structure. Situation: describe the context. Task: explain the responsibility or challenge. Action: show what you did. Result: end with the positive outcome. This pattern is powerful because it keeps your story organized. It highlights your thinking. It shows your problem-solving ability. And most importantly, it proves your value. Here is an example of how chaos becomes clarity without structure. I worked on a project which it was difficult. My team had some issues. I helped them. In the end, it was okay. This sounds unsure. With STAR. Last year, we had a project behind schedule situation. I was responsible for coordinating the team and identifying delays. Task: I organized daily check-ins and redistributed tasks to improve workflow. Action: as a result, we finished 2 days early with improved team communication. Result: this sounds confident, professional, and clear. You must practice STAR until it becomes automatic. 2. The 3-point answer pattern. This is your universal structure for every question in interviews and meetings. Point 1. Make a clear statement. Point 2. Support with one example. Point 3. End with a simple conclusion. When your brain follows this pattern, you never lose control. Example. Question: what makes you suitable for this role? Structured. Answer: I'm suitable for this role because I have strong organizational skills. Point 1. For example, in my last job, I managed scheduling for a team of 12 and reduced delays by 30%. Point 2. So I believe I can bring the same efficiency to this position. Point 3. This pattern makes you sound confident even with simple English. 3. The PREP method: point, reason, example, point again. This is ideal for meetings, discussions, presentations, and when you need to speak clearly under pressure. Here's how it works. Point: give your opinion. Reason: explain why. Example: provide evidence. Point again: repeat your position confidently. This pattern is especially useful when you're asked, "What do you think? Should we do this? What's your opinion? How would you handle this problem?" Example: I think we should switch to a new software system. Point: because our current system is slow and it affects productivity. Reason: last month we lost 2 full days of work due to system errors. Example: so switching platforms will save time and reduce stress for the whole team. Point again: clear, logical, professional. 4. The 1, 2, 3 explanation pattern. Whenever you explain something, your experience, a process, a workflow, a decision, use this structure. Here are 3 things: first, second, third. This gives your answer shape. It makes it easy to follow. It keeps you focused. Example: question: can you explain your customer service experience? Answer: sure, I'll break it into 3 parts. First, I handled client onboarding and guided them through our platform. Second, I resolved issues by collaborating with the technical team. Third, I tracked client feedback and suggested improvements to management. So overall, I have strong experience managing and supporting customers. This structure saves you from panic during explanations. 5. The problem-solution-result pattern. This is a powerful pattern used in interviews, meetings, and leadership communication. Problem: what was the challenge? Solution: what did you do? Result: how did it end? Simple, clean, direct. Example: we had a sudden drop in sales. Problem: I analyzed customer feedback and improved our online product descriptions. Solution: within 1 month, our conversion rate increased by 18%. Result: this pattern shows leadership, clarity, and confidence. Why structure helps your brain? When your brain is under pressure, it cannot think creatively, it cannot search for words, it cannot explore ideas freely, but it can follow patterns. Patterns calm your nervous system. Patterns reduce panic. Patterns give your mind a road map. Structure is not for perfection. Structure is for stability. Structure is for confidence. Structure is for power. Imagine walking into a meeting with 0 preparation, but with 3 or 4 strong speaking patterns already in your mind. Even without perfect English, you can respond clearly. Even without advanced vocabulary, you can make your point. Even without scripted answers, you can sound professional, because structure creates professionalism. Building automatic structure. Now you must practice until these structures become automatic. You do that through repetition, shadowing, speaking out loud, doing mock interviews, recording yourself, rehearsing common questions. The more you use the patterns, the more natural they become. The more natural they become, the more confident you sound. The more confident you sound, the better you perform. Interviews become conversations. Meetings become opportunities. Presentations become leadership moments. Your daily structure practice, 5 minutes. Every day choose 1 question. Tell me about yourself. What's your strength? Why should we hire you? Tell me about a challenge you faced. Then practice 1 structure. Star Prep 1, 2, 3. Problem solution. Result: your brain begins to think in patterns naturally. You stop searching for grammar. You start expressing ideas. You begin sounding like a professional. Your goal is not perfect English. Your goal is structured English. Structured English builds confidence. Confidence builds opportunities. Opportunities build your future. Segment 4. Your voice, tone, clarity, and the psychology of sound. There is a moment in every interview, every meeting, every professional conversation when words matter. But the way you deliver them matters even more. The tone, the speed, the rhythm. the confidence behind your voice, communicate more than your vocabulary ever will. People don't just listen to your English, they feel it. They feel your confidence or your fear. They feel your clarity or your uncertainty. They feel your presence or your hesitation. This is why in professional English, your voice becomes your most powerful tool. You have already seen it in real life. There are people who speak simple English but command attention in every room. And there are people who speak perfect English but sound unsure and get ignored. The difference is not language, it is delivery. Tone, pace, breath, intention, presence. In this segment, you will learn how to speak in a way that makes interviewers listen, colleagues trust you, and teams respect you. You will learn how to sound calm, clear, professional, and confident even when you feel nervous inside. Because here is the truth. You can train your voice just like you can train your English. Your voice is psychological, your voice is emotional, your voice responds to how you feel, but you can also teach it how to behave, even under pressure. Let's begin with the foundation. Sound 1. The psychology of your voice. Your voice reflects your mind. When you panic, your voice shrinks. When you overthink, your voice speeds up. When you lack confidence, your voice becomes quiet or shaky. When you feel inferior, your voice becomes small. But when you feel confident, your voice becomes full. When you feel calm, your voice becomes grounded. When you feel prepared, your voice becomes controlled. When you feel worthy, your voice becomes powerful. This is why you must train your voice not only through English practice, but through emotional practice. The voice is not a linguistic tool, it is an emotional signal. If you want your voice to sound confident in interviews, you must teach it confidence. If you want it to sound stable in meetings, you must teach it stability. If you want it to sound professional in presentations, you must teach it professionalism. Your voice is not magic, it is muscle memory. 2. Tone. The sound of confidence. Tone is the emotion behind your words. You can say the same sentence in different tones. I can do that. Weak tone, uncertain tone, confident tone, enthusiastic tone, professional tone. Interviewers don't just hear what you say, they hear who you are through your tone. Confidence has a tone. Professionalism has a tone. Leadership has a tone. Calmness has a tone. And the beautiful part is, you can train all of them. The confident tone has 3 qualities: slow speed, steady breath, clear endings. When you end your sentences clearly without fading, you sound firm. When you speak slowly without rushing, you sound sure. When you breathe deeply without tension, you sound calm. Try saying, I believe I can add value to your team. Now say it again, slower, again with calm breath, again ending each word clearly. Notice how your voice changes. That small shift can change your entire impression in an interview. 3. Pace. The rhythm of professional speech. Nervous speakers talk too fast. Confident speakers talk slower. Professional speakers control their rhythm. Your pace communicates more than your grammar. When you speak too fast, you sound unsure, even if the words are correct. When you speak slowly, you sound in control, even if the words are simple. Your new rule: slow down your English by 20%. When you slow down, your brain has time to think. Your voice has time to breathe. Your sentences have time to land. Your ideas have time to connect. Your confidence has time to rise. Interviewers feel your professionalism through your pace. Managers feel your clarity through your pace. Colleagues feel your leadership through your pace. Slow equals confident. Fast equals nervous. 4. Pauses. The secret of leadership speaking. If you want to sound like a leader, you must learn to pause. Most learners fear silence. They think silence shows weakness. They think silence shows confusion, but silence shows power. Professional speakers pause to think. Leaders pause to emphasize. Confident people pause to breathe. A 1-second pause can make you sound calm. A 2-second pause can make you sound intelligent. A 3-second pause can make people hang on your words. When you pause, you think more clearly. Your voice grows stronger. Your message feels intentional. Your confidence feels natural. The pause is your secret weapon. Use it. 5. Volume, not loudness. Presence. Volume isn't about shouting, volume is about presence. Weak volume feels like apology. Strong volume feels like certainty. You must speak with enough volume to sound alive, engaged, and present. But your volume must feel natural, not forced. Your voice should sit comfortably in the air, not hiding or disappearing. Imagine two candidates. Candidate A speaks too quietly. I think I can do this role. Candidate B speaks with presence. I'm confident I can contribute strongly to this role. Which one gets the job? Volume communicates belief. Belief communicates competence. 6. The professional voice formula. Here's the formula used by confident public speakers, interview winners, and strong presenters. Slow pace, steady breath, clear endings, balanced volume, strategic pauses. Train these 5 skills and your English becomes professional, even if your grammar is simple. 7. How to train your professional voice. Daily routine. Training. Your voice is like training a muscle. You cannot do it once. You must do it daily. Here is your 5-minute daily routine. Step 1. Breath reset, 30 seconds. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. This resets your nervous system. Step 2. Confidence lines. 1 minute. Read these sentences slowly, clearly, confidently. I speak with calm confidence. My voice is steady and clear. I communicate with purpose. I am confident in professional English. This conditions your tone. Step 3. Slow speech practice. Do 1 minute. Choose any sentence and say it slowly, then slower, then even slower. This trains pace. Step 4. Answer a question with pauses. 1 minute. Pick a common interview question. Why do you want this role? Answer slowly. Add 1 pause after every sentence. Step 5. Voice strengthening. 1 minute. Speak 1 paragraph with strong, balanced volume. Not loud, not weak, present. Do this routine daily and your voice will transform. 8. How your voice changes. Your future. Your voice affects everything in your career, your interview success, your first impression, your teamwork, your leadership presence, your ability to influence your confidence, your opportunities. When your voice is strong, people trust you. When your voice is clear, people listen to you. When your voice is calm, people feel safe with you. When your voice is confident, people follow you. Your voice is not just sound, it is identity. Train it, protect it, use it. Because in interviews and meetings, people don't see your resume first. They see your voice, they hear your confidence, they feel your presence. You don't need perfect English to win opportunities. You need controlled English, confident English, professional English, English that shows you belong in the room. Your voice can take you places your fear could never take you, and now you are learning how to use it. Segment 5. English for interviews, jobs and meetings, phrases, patterns, and real answers. There comes a moment in every professional conversation when structure, mindset, and confidence must meet language. This is the moment where the words you choose begin to shape how people see you. You already understand how to control your mind. You already understand how to use structure. You already understand how to manage your tone and pace. Now you must learn the phrases, patterns, and ready made English tools used by confident professionals in interviews, meetings, and workplace communication. Because here is the truth: most people don't speak deep English at work. They speak simple, clear, structured English, but they speak it consistently and confidently. You don't need fancy vocabulary to get a job. You don't need advanced grammar to lead a meeting. You don't need native level fluency to speak professionally. You need clean, repeatable language patterns that you can use anytime, even when your mind is under pressure. This segment will give you those patterns. Let's begin with interviews, because interviews are where most learners lose control. 1. Tell me about yourself. The most important answer. Every interview begins here. If your first answer is strong, the interview becomes yours. If your first answer is weak, the interview becomes a struggle. You don't need perfect English. You need clarity, pile confidence, pile structure. Use this pattern: present, past, future. Example: currently, I work as a customer support associate where I handle client issues and manage daily inquiries. Before that, I completed my diploma and also worked part time in retail, which taught me teamwork and communication. Now I'm looking for a more challenging opportunity where I can grow, contribute, and bring more value to a professional team. This is simple, clean, and powerful. You can customize it for any job. 2. Strengths: how to sound strong without sounding arrogant. Many people hesitate here. They say, I am hardworking, I'm honest. These answers are too common. Use this structure. Strength, short example. Result, example. One of my strengths is communication. In my previous role, I regularly handled client complaints and turned negative experiences into positive ones. As a result, our customer satisfaction score increased by 18%. This is professional English, simple but impressive. 3. Weakness. How to avoid traps. Never say, I don't have weaknesses. Sounds unrealistic. My English is weak. Destroys your chance. Use this pattern: real weakness. What you did. Current improvement. Example: I used to struggle with time management, so I started using digital tools and creating daily task lists. Now I'm much more organized and my productivity has improved significantly. You sound honest and confident. 4. Why should we hire you? The answer that wins jobs. This question is not about perfection. It's about confidence, clarity, and showing value. Use this structure: skill, example, benefit to company. Example: you should hire me because I bring strong problem-solving skills. For example, in my last job, I redesigned the complaint tracking sheet, which reduced processing time by 25%. I can bring the same efficiency and improvement to your team. This is the type of English that gets results. 5. English for meetings. Speak like a professional. Meetings require short, sharp, clear lines, not long sentences, not complicated grammar. Here are the most powerful meeting phrases to express your opinion. I believe. From my perspective, my suggestion is, one possible solution is to agree. I agree with that point. That makes sense. I support this idea. To disagree politely. I see your point, but I understand, however. Another way to look at this is to ask for clarity. Could you clarify that? Do you mean, can you give an example? to make decisions. Let's move forward with our next step should be I recommend that these simple lines elevate your communication instantly. 6. Handling tough questions in interviews. When interviewers ask difficult questions, your English must stay stable. Let's prepare for the toughest ones. Why did you leave your last job? Never blame your company. Use professional English. I left to look for better growth opportunities and new challenges that align with my career goals. What is your expected salary? Use confident but flexible language. I'm open to discussing a fair salary based on the responsibilities of the role. Do you have any questions for us? Never say no. Say, yes, I'd like to know more about the team I'll be working with. Or, what does success look like in the first 3 months? These questions show confidence. 7. English for phone calls, Zoom meetings, and online interviews. Online communication requires extra clarity. Here are your strongest phrases. To start, thanks for the opportunity to speak today. I appreciate your time. If the audio lags, could you repeat the last part? I think the connection froze for a moment. To check understanding, so just to confirm, if I understood correctly, to end the call, thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing from you. Clean, professional, effective. 8. Sounding confident, even when you feel nervous. Here are 10 secret phrases professionals use to sound confident. That's a good question. Let me think for a moment. Here's how I see it. I can give an example. Let me explain my approach. This is how I handled it in my previous role. Here's what I recommend. To summarize, the main point is, I'd be happy to clarify. These phrases give your mind time to think and your voice time to breathe. 9. English for leadership, teams, and responsibility. You don't need to be a manager to speak with leadership. Leadership English sounds like this. I take responsibility for, I'm available if the team needs support. I'll make sure this is completed on time. I'll coordinate with the team and update you. When you speak like this, you show maturity, reliability, and professionalism. 10. Building your daily professional English loop. To speak confidently in interviews, jobs, and meetings, you must practice daily but in small, manageable steps. Here is your daily loop. Step 1. 1-minute professional breathing. Reduce pressure. Calm your voice. Clear your mind. Step 2. 1-minute structure rehearsal. Pick star or 3-point structure. Practice answering one question. Step 3. 1-minute voice control. Slow pace, clear tone, balanced volume. Step 4. 1-minute vocabulary activation. Say these lines out loud, I believe. One example is, to clarify, the main point is, Step 5. 1-minute closing practice. End with a confident sentence, I can bring value to this team. Just 5 minutes a day can transform your English. Your English is becoming professional. You no longer speak like a learner. You speak like a professional. You speak like someone who belongs in the room. You speak like someone who can express value. You speak like someone who is ready for real opportunities. Your English is not the barrier anymore. Your English is becoming the bridge, and segment 6 will take you even further. Segment 6. Real situations, how to perform under pressure in interviews, jobs, and meetings. There's a big difference between practicing English alone in your room and using English in the real world. In your room, you feel safe, you feel calm, you feel in control. But in interviews, meetings, presentations, or workplace conversations, the pressure changes everything. Suddenly, every sentence feels heavier, every word feels important, every pause feels dangerous, and every mistake feels like a disaster. This is why segment 6 is crucial. This is where your preparation meets reality. This is where your skills meet pressure. This is where you learn how to perform, not just practice. Because the truth is simple: fluency matters. Confidence matters, but performance matters the most. In this segment, you will learn how to perform in real interviews, real meetings, real job situations, even when your heart is pounding and your English feels unstable. You will learn how to stay calm, clear, and confident in the moments that actually shape your future. Let's begin with the hardest situation of all. 1. The interview room. How to stay calm. When fear rises, you walk into the room, you see the panel, you feel the pressure, your hands sweat, your body tightens, your English shrinks. This is normal. This happens to everyone, even native speakers. Fear is not the enemy, your reaction to fear is. So you must train yourself to behave differently when fear appears. Here is the technique used by top performers worldwide: the 5-second reset. Before you answer any question, inhale for 2 seconds, hold for 1 second, exhale for 2 seconds. This resets your nervous system. This brings oxygen to your brain. This slows your heart. This gives your mind time to think. This gives your voice stability. And then you begin your answer slowly. Fear loses its power when you control your breath. The safe first sentence technique. Every answer begins with one simple, confident sentence. Sure, I'd be happy to explain. Absolutely, let me walk you through it. Yes, I can share my experience. This first sentence is your anchor. It buys you time. It builds your rhythm. It stops panic from entering. Then you follow with structure. Because structure protects you from confusion, and suddenly the interview becomes a conversation, not a battle. 2. The unexpected question. How to think clearly under pressure. This is the moment that destroys many candidates. The question you weren't expecting, the question you didn't prepare for, the question your brain doesn't immediately understand. In these moments, most learners panic. They speak too fast. They say random sentences. They sound unsure, but you won't. You will use what I call the buffer sentence method. When your brain needs time, say one of these. That's a great question. Let me think for a moment. I'd like to answer that clearly. Just a second. That's an interesting point. Here's how I see it. These sentences do two things. They give your mind 3 to 5 seconds to think. They make you sound confident, not nervous. Professional speakers do this all the time. Leaders do this. Managers do this. Interview winners do this. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. 3. Meetings. How to speak when others talk. Quickly, this is one of the biggest foes for non-native speakers. People talk fast, accents mix, ideas overlap, opinions bounce. You feel left behind. You feel like a guest in the room. You feel too scared to speak, and slowly your confidence fades. But you are not supposed to match their speed. You are supposed to match their clarity. Here is the strategy, the entry line technique. You begin speaking with one of these. I'd like to add something here. May I share my perspective? I have a quick suggestion. Let me add a point to that. These lines open the door. They grab the room's attention. They give you permission to speak. Then you follow with a short, clear structure. Example, I'd like to add something here. I see 2 issues with the current plan. First, second, so I suggest we adjust the timeline. See? Short, clear, professional. This is how you survive fast meetings. This is how you stand out. This is how you show leadership. 4. Presentations. How to sound confident. Without being perfect, you don't need a native accent to give a great presentation. You don't need advanced vocabulary. You don't need to be charismatic. You need pace, clarity, structure, presence. Here is the presentation formula. Step 1. Start with a strong opening. Today, I want to walk you through something important. This presentation will focus on. There are 3 key points I want to share with you. Step 2. Use simple transitions. First, second, third. To summarize. Step 3. Keep sentences short. Long sentences confuse your brain under pressure. Step 4. End with confidence. So that's my recommendation. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions. Simple, strong. 5. Workplace conversations. How to sound professional. Every day, daily. English at work can be tricky. You talk to managers, colleagues, clients, vendors, team members, supervisors. You need to sound professional every day, not only during interviews. Here are the most useful daily workplace phrases. To ask politely, "Could you please send me the file? Would you mind explaining that? Can we schedule a quick meeting?" To update your team, here's the latest update. We're facing a delay because I've completed the first part. To take responsibility, I'll handle that. I'll take care of it. I'll follow up and let you know. To disagree professionally, I understand your point, but my perspective is slightly different. Another approach could be. These phrases make you sound mature, polite, and confident. 6. Handling mistakes. How to recover without fear. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers, even professionals, even CEOs. The difference is how they recover. Here is your recovery technique, 9. The correction confidence method. If you make a mistake, simply correct yourself naturally. Sorry, let me say that again. Let me rephrase that. Let me explain it more clearly. This shows confidence. This shows professionalism. This shows control. Mistakes don't destroy your performance. Panic does. 7. Professional presence. How people feel. When you speak, professional presence is not grammar. It is not vocabulary. It is not accent. It is how calmly you speak, how clearly you explain, how confidently you sound, how stable your voice feels, how structured your sentences are. When you speak with presence, people trust you, people listen to you, people believe you, people respect you, and success follows presence. No one hires perfection. Everyone hires clarity. Everyone hires reliability. Everyone hires confidence. And now you are learning to sound like all 3. 8. The breakthrough moment. There will come a time, maybe during a real interview, maybe during your first big meeting, maybe during an important conversation, when you suddenly feel something new. Your voice stays steady, your mind stays focused, your English flows, you feel present, you feel in control. This is your breakthrough. This is the moment everything changes. Not because your English becomes perfect, but because you become confident. Once your confidence rises, your performance rises immediately. And from that moment on, English is no longer the barrier. English becomes your bridge. Segment 7. Your new professional identity, the confident communicator. There comes a moment in every learner's journey when English stops being a subject and becomes a skill, a tool, a voice, a presence, a doorway to a different life. And for you, that moment is arriving now. You've walked through every part of this training: mindset, structure, tone, clarity, real situations, performance. And now you must walk into the final transformation, becoming a confident communicator in interviews, jobs, and meetings. In this final segment, I want you to imagine something. Imagine walking into a room not with fear, not with hesitation, not with doubt, but with a quiet, powerful confidence inside you. Imagine sitting in front of an interviewer and feeling in control. Imagine joining a meeting and knowing exactly how to express your ideas. Imagine giving a presentation with steady breath, strong presence, and clear English. Imagine being respected, valued, chosen, not because your English is perfect, but because your communication is strong. This transformation is possible, and it begins with identity. 1. Identity. The hidden engine behind your English. Your English performance is not determined by vocabulary, grammar, or even your accent. It is determined by how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a nervous learner, you will speak like one. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will struggle. If you see yourself as someone who is afraid of mistakes, you will hide. But if you begin to see yourself differently, as a communicator, a professional, someone who belongs in the room, your English will rise to match that identity. Confidence does not come from language mastery. Confidence comes from identity mastery. The English-speaking version of you is already inside you. You have met that version in small moments. Maybe in a conversation that went well, maybe in a meeting where you felt unusually calm, maybe in a story you told in English without hesitation. That strong version is real. Now you must grow into it. 2. You don't need perfect English, you need professional English. Professional English is not the same as fluent English. Professional English is clear, calm, structured, purposeful, confident. Even if your vocabulary is simple, you can sound powerful. Even if your grammar is not perfect, you can sound professional. Even if your accent is strong, you can sound credible. Professional English is built on tone, presence, structure, stability, confidence. These 5 things matter more in the real world than advanced grammar. In fact, many native speakers fail interviews because they speak without structure, and many non-native speakers succeed because they speak with clarity. You don't need perfect English to get an opportunity. You need controlled English, and you've learned how to control it. 3. Breaking the fear cycle. Fear has controlled your English for years. Fear of judgment, fear of mistakes, fear of sounding wrong, fear of interviews, fear of speaking in front of people. Fear creates hesitation. Hesitation creates doubt. Doubt creates silence. Silence kills opportunities. But now you understand the truth. Fear is not a sign of weakness. Fear is a sign of growth. Every confident person you admire was once afraid. Every strong communicator you see in meetings once struggled. Every leader you respect once felt insecure. The difference is that they learned how to speak despite the fear. You have learned the same skill. You no longer need fear to disappear. You just need it to stop controlling you. 4. Your new speaking system. By this point, you have built a complete communication system, mindset control. You control your thoughts, your breath, your inner voice. Speaking structure. You know how to answer any question with clarity. Tone neno stitch plus pace. Be presence. Your voice is calm, steady, controlled. Real situation response. You know how to perform in interviews, meetings, and presentations. Professional phrases. You can speak with maturity, confidence, and strength. This is not theory. This is your new skill. You built it through effort, reflection, and training, and now you must use it. 5. The interview version of you. Picture this version of yourself. You sit down for the interview, you breathe calmly, your shoulders relax, your voice feels steady, your mind feels clear. You begin with a confident first sentence. Absolutely, I'd be happy to share that. You speak with structure, you speak with presence, you speak with intention, you speak like someone who belongs at the table. The interviewer listens, they understand you, they respect you, they feel your confidence. You're no longer the person who froze in fear. You are someone who speaks with strength. 6. The meeting version of you. Now imagine this. You enter a meeting, people are speaking fast, sharing ideas. The old you would stay silent, but the new you waits for a moment. Then you say, I'd like to add something here. The room goes quiet. You share your point in a clear, structured way. You speak slowly and professionally. People nod, people listen, people follow your idea. This is leadership. This is presence. This is respect. You earn this moment through your training. 7. The career version of You Your English is not just for interviews or meetings. It is for your future, your promotions, your opportunities, your salary, your network, your confidence, your identity, your growth. When you speak clearly, people trust you. When you speak confidently, people choose you. When you speak professionally, people remember you. Your English is not just language, it is your career tool. And now it is sharp, strong, reliable. 8. The final transformation. Every step you took in this journey has built a new version of you. More confident, more capable, more professional, more prepared, more respected, more powerful. You have transformed your mind. You have trained your voice. You have strengthened your identity. You have learned the patterns of success. You have learned the psychology of communication. You have learned the reality of performance. You are ready. Not someday, not maybe, not when my English is perfect. Now, today, at this moment, you are ready. Because confidence doesn't come after success. Confidence creates success. Final words before call to action. If this session helped you grow, if this training opened your mind, if this journey made your English stronger, if you feel even a little more confident than before, then I want you to do something. Trust yourself. Believe in your progress. Use your voice. Speak with courage. Show up with confidence. Your future is listening for your voice. Before we end, please like the video, comment your experience, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue building your confidence together.